a giant monster suddenly explodes out of South Korea's Han River and begins swallowing people alive in broad daylight. In the middle of the chaos, one terrified father watches helplessly as the creature snatches his daughter and disappears beneath the water. Everyone believes she's dead. The government blames a mysterious virus. The military covers up the truth. And while the entire country hunts the monster, one broken family discovers something impossible. Their daughter is still alive, trapped inside the creature's underground lair. Now they have just one chance to rescue her before she becomes the monster's next meal. Before we find out if they can save her, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss more movie recaps like this. The film opens inside a laboratory at Yongsan Garrison, the United States military base in the heart of Seoul. Two scientists occupy the room. The American pathologist surveys the storage shelves and finds hundreds of bottles of formaldehyde collecting dust. He orders his Korean assistant to pour every last bottle down the drain. The assistant objects. Emptying the chemicals through the sink will contaminate the Han River. The pathologist dismisses the concern, saying the Han River is broad enough. The Korean assistant pulls on a gas mask, lines up the bottles, and begins pouring. Bottle after bottle empties into the drain. The chemicals spread into the water below, and no one notices for years. A few years later, two young men fishing on the Han River spot a strange little creature near the surface. They chalk it up to natural mutation and move on. A few years after that, on an ordinary afternoon, a man standing on the Wonhyo Bridge railing notices something strange moving in the water below. The creature is considerably larger now. He points it out to the people nearby, but no one understands what he's gesturing at. He jumps into the river. 6 years pass. The Han River runs through the heart of Seoul, and along its banks, life continues as it always has. Park Gang-do runs a small snack bar at the edge of Hangang Park with his aging father, Bong. Gang-do is slow and easily distracted, the kind of man who falls asleep mid-shift and forgets to give change. His daughter, Hyun-seo, is sharp and self-possessed, a middle school student who carries herself with more composure than anyone else in the family. Gang-do's younger brother, Nam-il, holds a university degree and no job, nursing the specific frustration of someone who expected more from life and hasn't worked out what went wrong. Their younger sister, Nam-ju, competes professionally as an archer and has represented South Korea at the international level. But she carries one flaw into every competition. She can draw the bow with perfect form. Releasing it at the right moment is the part she always gets wrong. The Park family is fractured and imperfect, with each member trapped in their own way. One afternoon, the family gathers in Gang-do's shop to watch Nam-ju compete on television. Their attention shifts when the crowd outside begins gathering at the riverbank, pointing at something hanging beneath the bridge. People lean over the railing and stare at a dark shape, half submerged and motionless. Then it drops into the water. Gang-do throws a can of beer toward it. The creature surfaces and eats it. Others join in, tossing items into the river, assuming it's some kind of large fish or dolphin. Then it hauls itself onto land. The creature is massive, thick-bodied and fast, with a wide jaw and a tail that functions as a fifth limb, vaulting it forward in long, unpredictable bounds. It crashes into Hangang Park at full speed, overturning stalls and scattering the crowd in every direction. People trip over each other trying to escape. Vendors abandon their carts. The creature doesn't slow. It sweeps through the open space, knocking people off their feet, crushing others as it charges. It kills as it moves, indiscriminate and relentless. Gang-do grabs a metal support pole alongside an American man nearby, and they swing it hard at the creature. It does nothing. The creature attacks the American and swallows him whole. Gang-do swings again, lands the hit, then turns and runs. He finds Hyun-seo, grabs her hand, and moves with the crowd toward the exit. In the crush of bodies and noise, their hands come apart. When Gang-do turns back, the creature already has Hyun-seo wrapped in its tail. It swings toward the river. He sprints after it across the open ground, screaming her name, and reaches the bank just as the creature hits the water. He goes in after it, but he can't swim. On the far side of the river, the creature swallows Hyun-seo and disappears beneath the surface. Emergency services arrive quickly and clear the area. Military and government officials follow, marking the entire park as a restricted zone. That evening, a public memorial is held for the victims. The Park family gathers among the mourners, barely functional with grief. Bong, through tears, vows to kill the creature and bring Hyun-seo home. Before the service ends, government officials move through the crowd and begin directing people into quarantine. Health authorities, alongside representatives from the United States military, announce that the creature carries an unidentified virus. Anyone in physical proximity to it is a potential carrier. The Park family is transported to a hospital and held under close watch. Inside the ward, Gangdu sits apart from the others for further testing, as he made direct contact with the creature's blood. He's told not to eat until the following day, but he sneaks food into the lab anyway. Then his phone rings. Hyun-seo's voice comes through the line, quiet and controlled, doing everything she can not to be heard. She tells him she's underground, somewhere in the sewer system beneath the river. The creature shares the same space, and she can't speak above a whisper. She describes her surroundings as best she can, the concrete walls, the drain above her, the darkness, and gives what details she can before the call cuts out. Gangdu tells the family immediately. Bong believes him. The hospital staff don't. The government's position holds. The creature's victims are dead. The Park family is a contamination risk, and they are to remain in quarantine until cleared. The family doesn't accept this. They cause a disruption in the ward, overpower the staff, and break out through a service exit. Within minutes, the entire Park family is on the news, with police on the streets looking for them. They pool their money, contact a low-level criminal, and purchase ammunition and supplies. Wearing disguises, they navigate past officers and nearly get caught. Bong bribes an officer that recognizes them. They return to the river. Beneath the city, Hyun-seo is not alone. The creature's lair sits deep in the sewer system, a wide, dim space with high concrete walls, filled with the remains of its kills. Two workers the creature snatched from the riverbank are deposited there alongside her. One of them is alive but badly shaken. Hyun-seo finds him and tries to use his phone to contact her father, but the phone is broken. She remains calm, studies the space, and begins paying attention to the creature's movements. When it leaves, how long it's gone, when it returns. Armed with maps of the city's tunnel and sewer networks, the Park family moves on foot through the underground passages. They sweep each section methodically, calling out, listening, checking every branching tunnel for any sign of Hyun-seo. The tunnels stretch in every direction, dark, wet, identical in every way that matters. Their long search turns up nothing. Meanwhile, the creature returns to its lair and deposits two new bodies. One of them, a little boy named Seju, is still alive. Hyun-seo pulls him close and keeps him quiet. The Parks regroup at the shop to rest before continuing. Through a crack in the window, Gangdu spots the creature outside and urges Bong to fire. Bong fires directly at it. Every shot lands on the creature, but none of it slows it down. It turns and attacks, trying to roll the shop over. Bong's next shot catches it in the jaw, but before they can act further, the creature retreats. The family splits up and tries to draw it out into the open. The creature reaches Bong first. It moves faster than any of them can close the distance. He goes down fast. It kills him and moves on before anyone can intervene. Gangdu breaks down, unable to leave his father behind even as the military closes in. The military units arrive at the scene and take Gangdu into custody while Nam-il and Namju escape, scattering in separate directions into the city. The government has placed a bounty on the entire Park family, tying them to the virus narrative and labeling them a public health risk. Nam-il tracks down an old university acquaintance known as Fat Guevara, someone with connections to political and underground networks who can trace a phone signal without going through official channels. Nam-il explains the situation plainly. Hyun-seo is still alive and being held somewhere beneath the city by the creature, while the government has fabricated the entire virus story. He needs Fat Guevara's help tracing Hyun-seo's phone call to pinpoint her location. Fat Guevara agrees and begins tracking the signal. At first, he appears cooperative, but unknown to Nam-il, he secretly contacts the authorities after learning the government has placed a bounty on the Park family. Before long, several men begin closing in around Nam-il. Realizing he has been set up, he fights his way out of the area. But before escaping, he gets the information he came for and quickly sends Nam-ju the coordinates. The signal traces Hyun Seo's location to an area near Wonhyo Bridge. Nam-ju operates alone. She keeps her bow on her back, stays off main roads, and moves in short distances. While searching the sewer, she receives Nam-il's message. Before she can reply, the creature attacks her and knocks her out. Gang-do is transferred to a military medical facility and processed as an infected civilian. He is scheduled for a brain procedure, framed officially as medical treatment, but its real purpose is to silence him before he can complicate the narrative any further. While waiting, Gang-do overhears 2 American personnel confirm what he already suspected. The virus does not exist. The pathogen story was constructed to manage public perception and redirect attention away from the creature's actual origins. The formaldehyde. The American pathologist dumped down the drain. Below the city, Hyun Seo maps the creature's schedule in her head. The intervals between its departures. The sounds that signal its return. The rhythm of the lair when it's empty. She collects clothing from the bodies around her, knots them together into a rope, and ties one end to a pipe high above the drain. The rope reaches it, but not the ground on the other side. She works through the problem, checks the knots, and waits for the right window. When the creature leaves, she moves. Hyun Seo waits for another window. When the creature settles and goes still, she moves out of hiding, throws a can in its direction to confirm it's asleep, and gets no response. She uses the creature's body as a platform to reach the rope and climbs again, faster this time, with more urgency. She passes the midpoint. She is within reach of the top when the creature stirs. Its tail shoots up and closes around her, pulling her down even as it's still half asleep. Hyun Seo and Se-ju run for cover, but the creature is faster. It catches them both and swallows them. Back at the facility, Gang-do grabs a nurse and holds her at close range, threatening to breathe on her and expose her to the virus she believes he carries. The bluff holds. He escapes in an ambulance. The government and United States forces announce their next move: the release of Agent Yellow, a concentrated chemical agent, along the Han River. The public rationale is the elimination of the creature. The operational logic is to close the incident before the truth about its origins spreads, and to do it in a way that keeps American involvement buried. The announcement draws immediate public backlash. Civilians who lost family members, who have watched the government fabricate a virus and quarantine entire neighborhoods, gather near the riverbank to protest. Gang-do reaches Wonhyo Bridge and descends into the sewer system. He navigates toward the lair by memory, following the details Hyun Seo gave him on the phone. He finds the space, spots the rope still hanging from the pipe, and climbs down into the lair. He scans the dark, wet floor. The creature is gone, but as it disappears down the far passage, Hyun Seo's arm hangs limp and motionless from its closed mouth. Gang-do follows it out. The creature crashes upward through the drainage infrastructure and bursts into open air at the riverbank, directly into the protest zone. The crowd scatters in every direction. The creature sweeps through the open space, striking and killing as it moves, fast and unpredictable, covering ground before anyone can respond. Gang-do emerges behind it and keeps pace. Nam-ju, now conscious and back on her feet, spots the creature from her position and raises her bow. Nam-il closes in from another direction. At the same time, Agent Yellow releases. The chemical rolls across the riverbank like a dense fog. The creature slows, its movements losing their precision. Its legs buckle and it collapses onto the concrete. Gang-do reaches it while it's still down and forces its mouth open. Gang-do pulls Hyun Seo from its mouth and realizes she is already dead, still holding Se-ju, who is unconscious but alive. He carries Hyun Seo's limp body across the ground to Nam-il. Agent Yellow slows the creature but doesn't finish it. It recovers, dragging itself upright and pushing forward again. Overcome with rage, Gang-do goes after the creature with the metal pole, driving blow after blow into its body. Nam-il follows with Molotov cocktails, hitting the creature from multiple angles and keeping it off balance. A homeless man who has been living along the Han River steps forward. He knows the creature's patterns. He has watched it long enough to understand how it moves and where it goes. He doesn't hesitate. He moves in with fuel and pours it across the creature's body. Nam-il throws his last Molotov and misses. Namju draws her bow, lights the tip of an arrow, and holds. The hesitation that has followed her into every competition, that fractional pause at the moment of release, the one that has cost her again and again, is not there. She releases cleanly. The arrow strikes. The creature ignites. It thrashes in wide, sweeping arcs, its tail and body tearing through the space around it. It turns toward the river. Gangdu plants himself directly in its path and drives the metal pole into its mouth with full force. The creature's legs give out. It hits the ground and doesn't rise again as fire continues burning across its body. Gangdu crosses back to where Seju lies on the ground, still unconscious. He checks for breathing and begins shaking him steadily. Seju coughs, his eyes open. He is disoriented and weak, but alive. Gangdu takes Seju home. He reopens his father's snack bar, the same counter, the same fold-out chairs, the same spot along the park overlooking the Han River. One night, while sitting at the counter as Seju sleeps in the back, Gangdu hears something from the direction of the river. He moves to the window and looks out into the dark, shotgun in hand. There is nothing there. He sets the gun down, returns to the counter, and makes a meal for the two of them. And that's how one ordinary family took on a nightmare that an entire government couldn't stop. Despite losing the person they fought so hard to save, Gangdu refuses to let that sacrifice be meaningless, giving Seju the home and family he almost lost forever. But what do you think? Was the monster the real villain of the story? Or was it the people who created the disaster in the first place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another movie breakdown. We cover everything from hidden gems and cult classics to the biggest films ever made. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next recap.